Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Brooks number BELR1. This is an R1 emergency light with a pair of local lamps, 6 volt, 10.8 watt in white. I have a unit removed from the packaging for us to review. Here it is. Typical emergency light. You're going to see this in every commercial application. Code compliance, of course, requires emergency lights, which are in effect when the power goes out or otherwise tripped, the lights will go on. There's an integrated battery. There's an onboard battery to allow that to happen. Let's go over the item in detail. So first, let's start with the dimensional properties of the item. And the video is really going to serve as a visual review of the product. And then we're going to go over the installation instructions and that are linked below this video. I'm going to give you an overall of the back side, or at least the housing of the unit. And by the way, it weighs about 3.6 pounds, at least it does in its box. So the overall width of the unit on the back side is 11 3/4 at a height of about 5 inch. So 11 3/4 by 5 inch. Test button, by the way. Okay. Overall height. Forgive me. Projection. The projection of the body is about 2 3/8. So this dimension is 2 3/8. Then, of course, you've got your lamps. And looking at the back side of the lamps, you've got a lot of ability to tailor that. Okay. You can rotate them. So a lot of articulation in terms of the lamps themselves. Okay. And by the way, with the installation instructions, you are going to get a package of wire nuts, and then, of course, a couple of screws and a couple of plastic anchors. Should you need those to install them, there are multiple ways, of course, to install an emergency light on a wall, on a gang box, onto a conduit application as well. Now, this is obviously in white. There is an extended description down below this video which tells us that the Brooks emergency lights feature a low-profile design. Speaking of low-profile design, when the lamps are basically just set flush to point straight out, you're going to have an overall depth or projection from the wall of about 4 inch, then an overall, so from here to here about 4 inch, and then an overall width of the unit of about 15 3/4. Just to put it into perspective, from here to here about 15 3/4 inch. Now, the universal mounting with the easy quick connect push to test solid state charger, low voltage disconnect, and power on LED indicator light standard. Fully adjustable glare free lighting on both heads is of course included. Universal voltage, this will do 277 VAC and of course 120 VAC. UL and ETL listed, and then some dimensions. Now, probably the first thing that you're curious about is what it looks like on the inside, and we're going to look at that now. And really all I do to install these, I'll just use a slotted screwdriver, and I'll just insert it into here, down here, and here, so that I can just pop the case off is all that I do. And I do it carefully, of course, because this material is just simply plastic, and you certainly don't want to damage anything. So while I remove the back case cover, I'm going to pause this video. The way that I work in terms of loosening the back plate is I'll lay it down on its top side so that I can access that point down in there, and then just be able to pop that off. Now, turning it right side up, your wire feeds are through the conduit hole. If they're not when you start the installation, it doesn't really matter. They'd be buried inside. But at this point, you'll be able to get the rear back plate or mounting plate off. But there's a connector down here, so you've got to kind of be aware of the fact that it has to be pulled straight off. And what I mean is right here, this area here, which are going to be the wire connections. Okay, down of course onto that circuit board that's there. And there's the business end of this unit. Page 2 of the installation instructions will allow you to review the wiring diagram that is allowing for the different installations that you can encounter. And of course your back plate. That's going to be the top portion. Your snap flanges will be the bottom portion. Okay. Now, the installation instructions. Let's go over them. There is, the first paragraph really are important safeguards. Don't electrocute yourself, things of that nature. Read all of that. This is an this is an interior unit. This is not intended for exterior applications. It's not weather or waterproof whatsoever. Consult local code for approved wiring and installation. Disconnect, of course, the AC power before doing any installation. Do not mount near gas or electric heaters. There's certainly code that will develop and control the proper location of installation. Not exterior rated. Do not use this equipment for anything other than its intended use. The use of accessory equipment is not recommended by the manufacturer and will void the product listing and warranty. Any service on this equipment should be performed by qualified folks, etc. Additional safeguards there for you to read. Installation. Before starting the installation, disconnect the AC power. Remove the unit's back plate by pushing through the two tabs at the bottom using a narrow screwdriver. We've accomplished that. Now they're going to talk about your box mounting, your conduit mounting, and your wall mounting. All of it is very similar in the sense that if you're doing a wall mount, get this attached to the wall, and obviously get your power connected, then get the plate attached to the wall. You've got lots of area up here for doing so, for you to mount it to the wall. Obviously that's going to be compliant with a conduit box mount as well. Conduit mount, your hole's already there. Okay, that's very simple and straightforward how you're going to go about doing that. Okay, getting that mounted. You've got your common, then you've got your black, and then you've got your red, 120, and then 277 obviously for the red, and then of course the white common. And that really is everything on page 1 of the installation instructions. Page 2, which I actually have open in front of me. Connect the battery to the circuit board using the jumper, which is figure B. Figure B, of course, is going to be on the bottom of page 1. And what they're saying here is okay, beautiful. Of course, it's not the battery's not connected when it ships. Okay, so you're going to connect the battery as it's shown in figure 1. You're going to basically connect the two red wires together, and if you follow them back, indeed, one goes to the top of the battery, and the other one goes back to the emergency light itself. Okay, so that's going to be connecting the battery. Okay, that's at the bottom of page 1. Now, you're going to have your power connected. You're going to connect your battery first. You're then going to turn on the power. Okay, don't turn on the power and then connect the battery. Battery connection first. Assemble the unit back together. So you've got your plate mounted, you've got your battery connected, snap this on. It's very simple. Again, this ought to be at the top. It needs to slide down onto the circuit board that's here. Wires must be tucked back in naturally. Okay. It's going to literally snap on, and then at that point You're good to go. It's now fully connected. Okay. Apply power to the unit after it's installed. The LED indicator down on the bottom near the test switch should turn red. You're going to want to leave it alone for 2 hours. Let the battery charge. Test the unit by pushing the switch. The LED indicator should turn off and the lamps should come on. When the switch is released, the lamps turn off and the LED indicator comes back to red. Okay. Now, the next paragraph in the installation instruction, and by the way, again, wire nuts are included. The next paragraph in the installation instruction talks about testing. The summary of the testing basically says once a month, test it for 60 seconds. Hold the test button down. Your lamps should be illuminated for, 30 seconds, not 60. Lamps should be illuminated for 30 seconds. Once a year, you need to do a 90-minute test, meaning disconnect the power to the unit. The battery should leave the lamps on for 90 minutes. That's your annual test. And technically, you're supposed to keep a log of having done all that testing. There's a troubleshooting guide telling you what to do if you've got trouble. If the charge indicator light is off, check that the circuit breaker and that the AC coming in is on. If the charge indicator light is on, check that the battery is properly connected. And if you continue to have a problem, of course, replace the battery would be the way to go. If you have remote lamps where applicable, this is let's see here now. This is actually a model that is remote lamp capable because it has your yellow and blue. You know what? Let me pull the cover back off and confirm. This is not a remote lamp capable unit. As shown on the back side, there are not spare wires to feed remote lamps, so you're going to skip that portion of the installation. Okay. The wiring diagrams at the bottom of page 2 are very helpful because they do show you how you're going to get all of that, how the schematic of how everything is installed. Obviously, yeah, there's really nothing to do other than to power it after you've connected the battery. Okay. Maintenance is there. Talks about the testing at 72-degree temperature. You should expect a 2 to 3 year life expectancy out of the battery. And the battery, we'll pull the battery out so we can take a look at that. .6 volt, 4.5 amp hour. I'm going to give you dimensions of the battery. It's a bit unwieldy to hold in the camera, forgive me. That's what we're dealing with. I'll give you the depth, 1 7/8 deep. The height, 3 7/8, and then the width, 2 3/4. Okay, so now you've got dimensions of that battery and the electrical requirements. So now we can snap that back in place. Of course, not pinching the wires anywhere. Snaps back in and you're in good shape. Okay. That concludes everything. There is finally a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Brooks products that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's website along with a link to the full product catalog. The name Brooks is quite synonymous with all things firefighting equipment or fire safety equipment related, whether it be nozzles that you'll use in a fire suppression system, to O-rings for fire extinguishers, to valves that you'll use in sprinkler systems, to signage that you'll use to identify everything, and then, of course, to emergency lighting. If you have any questions on the Brooks BELR1 emergency light or any other Brooks product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.